happening? Coach Cala here. Throughout this video, I'm going to tell you how I broke a sub 20 5K. And if you don't know what a 5K is, watch this whole video to find out. On my recent journey to qualify for the New York City Marathon, I had to do 10 races to get into the 2025 New York City Marathon. And one of my goals for one of the races was to break a 20-minute 5K, which is probably, I think, the hardest race I've done, besides a couple trail races, but definitely the hardest race I've done on pavement. And a 5K is 3.12 miles. So, breaking sub 20, I think only 1% of the world can do, according to ChatGPT, is a very difficult task. And 20 was something I never thought I'd do. You know, I was running 10-minute miles like 2 years ago when I first got the Apple Watch. I was barely breaking 7 this year during my training, but game day is a different animal. So, first thing you gotta do is get a nice pair of super shoes for a present. No, seriously. First thing you have to do is get a nice training plan. I did a 6-month training plan after my second marathon last year in April. You know, I would go slower during the week, then do a tempo run, a day where I was just sprinting on the track, doing my 400 or 800 meter sprints. 4 days a week, again, I was running a zone 2 or a slower day or a slower pace, so maybe 8:30 to 9 minutes. And then gradually, as it got down to August and September, this race was in November, I was getting between a 7:30 and a 7-minute tempo run day. Take your slow running days slow for sure, so you reduce the injury when you're running hard. But on those fast track days and the tempo days, really try to go hard. For my track days, I would just do 8 400 meter sprints, and I would try to start at 2 minutes and then end under 1:30, which was just about a 6-minute mile. When I started in last April, it was rough. I was barely breaking 1:45, and then when I got there in October, before my half marathon, I was breaking like 1:32, 1:30, and then as November came, I was crushing it. Biggest thing for me when I do my races though is I need to do a warm-up, especially on the short races, the mile or the 400 meters or the 5K. You have to do a longer warm-up. I remember being in Manhattan for the 5K because it was the dash to the finish right before the marathon, and I was warming up for like 20 minutes. When I did the half marathon, I parked and ran. If you haven't seen that video, I'll put the link below in my bio. But you have to warm up definitely for the shorter runs or your body's gonna hurt. After that, don't do this, but I did it. You have to go out flying. Maybe not as fast your first mile for the other 2 miles, but the first mile I flew. The adrenaline was just too much. There's 10,000 people running in Times Square. No traffic. It was incredible. A bunch of people cheering me on. It was, you know, my first mile was a 5:54, but I just was trying to stay tough and make sure I was below a 6:30 mile in order to finish the race. So my splits were 5:54, a 6:20, and then a 6:27, which overall came to a 19:44. But none of that would have happened without all the hard work I put in, doing the tempo run once a week where I was running, you know, a hard pace for 10 minutes only throughout a 5-miler. Then I was doing my 400s once a week, and then I was doing 4 runs at a slow pace, with one being like 7 to 10 miles. If you need any more advice, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and of course, get moving.